Welcome back into the Blacksburg Buzz. Today, we're actually talking about some basketball. Moving away from that ugly Hokies loss on Saturday, as it's a brand new season. Basketball starts here tonight in Blacksburg. The men and the women are both playing in Cassell Coliseum. It should be a fun one for anyone able to attend. I'm really looking forward to this season because you don't know what to expect. And while that can be scary, at the same time, it can be a lot of fun. You're going into the season with honestly zero expectation for both these teams. They're so new in terms of the squad, the women's team with a brand new coach in Coach Duffy. You have no idea what to expect. And maybe they blow us out of the water. Who knows? You really can't tell with these teams so far until we see them on the court for real. And just having that mystery, it's kind of fun in a lot of ways. Now, before we jump into both these teams, let's talk about our video sponsor, BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, NHL, to entertainment and political props. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. So let's start off with the men's team, then we'll jump into the women's team. And like I said, completely new team. You've got 5 returning players out of the 14 on the squad. Only 3 of them actually played serious minutes last season. So, you're looking at this as almost a completely fresh team. Jaden Young, Brandon Recksteiner, and Malijah Poteet were the 3 that actually played quite a bit. Poteet had a lot of minutes last year. He was good, and I'm really excited to see him play. From what I've heard, it sounds like he dropped like 20 to 30 pounds this season, and so he might be a little bit more shifty, and I think he's really fun to watch. He's very reliable. He gets the job done. He's not always going to put up 20, 25 points for you, but he's going to be a solid, 10 to 15 just about every night with good defense. And he's just reliable down there. You know what you're getting out of him. And that's going to be huge for this team. Just having guys where you know what to expect from them. And Poteet, I think it's going to be a great season for him. He wasn't sure what was going to happen after last season with him, decided he was coming back, and I'm really looking forward to it. Jaden Young as well. You could see he developed a lot over the course of the season, and he was, shifting into that like 2 guard position and started playing it really well towards the end of the year. Rex Steiner taking over in the 1 slot. And, I think if he develops well this season, if he cuts out just, those silly mistakes as a young player, I think he'll be just fine facilitating the ball and whatnot. So those 3 guys played quite a bit last year. And then Patrick Wessler and Connor Venable are also coming back. Now, some new additions for the team. You got Toby Lawal, a forward from VCU, Jaden Shute, guard from Duke. These 2 guys, I am thrilled to see them on the court. Lawal is a ridiculous athlete. He's the type of guy where, you see him jump and it just blows you away. You honestly think he could jump over just about anything. If he jumped up and he touched the top of the backboard, I would be very impressed, but I can't say I would be all too surprised. That's how athletic this guy is. It's insane. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch. If he, develops a little bit, polishes up his game, he's going to be a really good player. Jaden Shute as well. Any guy getting recruited by Duke, he's the real deal. Battling some injuries the last couple seasons, hasn't played a whole lot, but I think he's going to be a real figurehead on this team. I think he's probably going to be the leading scorer, or at least fighting up there for it. Just his ability to shoot from deep and to get around, I think he's going to be a good slasher and a good shooter for this team. And, a great kick out option as well for the point guards. If Rex Steiner drives in and he doesn't have anything, I think Shoot's going to be the go to guy over there. Kind of like a Hunter Couture in a lot of ways. I think he's going to be the man when it comes to making tough shots, making deep shots. Shoot, I am very high on this season. I think he's going to rock. Then also you got Ben Burnham, forward from College of Charleston, Ronnie Brown Jr., guard from Cal, and Connor Servin, a forward from Eastern Michigan. Those are the other portal additions, so 5 in total. And a lot of these guys were expecting to really hold down the fort. Being the portal guys, the more experienced guys, they're going to be important to this group to, help mesh everyone together and, bring the younger guys up to speed. So with the experience here, that's going to be key from these guys. And just figuring out how to work together. You know, you're essentially building a brand new team from scratch. Most of these guys have never stepped onto the court with each other and probably have never even seen each other play in a lot of scenarios. So, it's just picking and choosing a guy from here or there, and you got to build them into a team. The experience is going to be very important for that. In terms of the brand new guys, the freshmen, you got Ben Hammond, guard from PVI. I'm excited to see him. PVI's from right where I'm from, back home. And, I've been to PVI. I may have seen a basketball game of theirs at some point. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I've played baseball on their field as well. And I'm excited to see that. I know PVI has turned out some great talent in a lot of different sports lately, and I think Hammond's going to be nasty. Ryan Jones Jr. and Tyler Johnson, two other guys that are expected to be big contributors on this team, potentially immediately, but definitely in a year or two. Ryan Jones Jr. is a very good product, one of the highest recruits for VT basketball in a little while. He's really good at the forward position. He could probably play like a smaller center too, but definitely I would say more of a 4. Um, but he's very good, very highly rated by 24/7 and whatnot. And Tyler Johnson too. He really had a good year in high school. He broke out at one of the events he attended, and I'm excited to see these two guys. Also, Peter Carr, a guard from Westchester East. Um, so yeah, should be a fun year with this group. Unfortunately, the team lost Miller. He was released due to circumstances prior to his enrollment. Presumably, that's due to the scandal at Temple with suspicious gambling activity. Some lines were shifting really weird. Some very odd outcomes on games. And this happened just like a week ago. So, right before the season, what it seems to be is that they didn't really think he's involved and recruited him, and some new information has come out, and they're thinking, okay, he probably is involved in this in some way. I don't know for sure. That's not a fact. It hasn't been proven in any way to my knowledge, but that's what I would imagine it probably is, although we really don't know for certain at this point in time. Definitely, either way, an unfortunate loss for the Hokies on the court. Miller was probably expected to be that starting point guard. Um, Let Rex Steiner, come up in as the backup and continue developing, but you got a polished point guard up there, guy that's been around for a couple more years. So that's definitely a big hit for the Hokies. But like I said, completely unknown expectations for this team. Probably not going to finish too high in the conference, but there's always a chance that everything clicks. I think the offense is going to be interesting. I've heard that the defense will be okay, but the question is, how do they mesh on offense? How do they fit together? What is everyone's role going to be in this group? And I think once they work that out, they'll be okay. Like I said, definitely tough losing Miller, expected to be one of your starting 5. but that just means there's going to be more guys battling for that spot. And it could be a fun year. Not much to say until we see them play for real, though. Rumor is that they had a secret scrimmage against JMU um, right before the Georgia Tech game, like one of the days right before, and that they lost in that secret scrimmage. But otherwise, we really don't know anything about them until Monday night's game against Delaware State. I'm expecting a win in this game. I would really be shocked if Virginia Tech scheduled a team for the season opener at home that wasn't going to be an easy game, just a polish up game getting warmed up. But you can never be too sure with a new team. Now, the women's team is also very new and very exciting. First game right before the men's at 5:30 against UNC Wilmington. They did retain a bit more talent. There's 6 players coming back instead of the men's 5, and 5 of them actually played some pretty decent minutes. Carly Wenzel, Karis Baker, Samaya Suffren, Matilda Eck, Rose Mishaw, and then Mackenzie Nelson, who was redshirted last season. I'm really excited to see the development out of these 6. Now, we haven't really seen Mackenzie Nelson on the court, but the other 5, I'm excited to see what happens, especially with Karis Baker, Carly Wenzel, and Samaya Suffren. Now, Rose Mishaw and Matilda Eck, they're both seniors now. You have a pretty good idea of what you're going to get out of them. But the others, we saw them make huge strides last season. Karis, a very confident shooter, she just broke out. She dropped a couple 20-point performances, if I remember correctly, and just a knockdown shooter from outside. She was a lot of fun to watch, especially when she got hot. I mean, Carly Wenzel, a lights out, nasty defender out there, and good on offense as well. That's where we've seen a lot of her development over, last year. She really started to get the offense flowing a little bit. Not as much pressure on her offensively with, Georgia Amore, Liz Kitley, Kayla King out there to drop a lot of buckets, put up a lot of points. And that's probably the thing that I'm most excited about for this season is seeing Carly Wenzel be that leader on this team. And I think she's going to have a really good offensive season as well. I think that production is just going to skyrocket. You give her kind of an open team, a lot more to work with, and she's less in like a role player position and more in like a star facilitator position. And I think her game's just going to take off. She's been great out there on the floor and, had a ton of help, ton of great talent around her last year. Some All-American talent out there around her to, help her develop and get her game down into the next level. And now I think with a much younger team around her, she's really going to be able to lead this group and just pop off on the court. Same thing with Samaya Suffren. She developed a lot over the course of last season as a freshman, was kind of forced into, playing a good amount of minutes out there, and she held up pretty well. She dropped a couple buckets here and there, but didn't get much opportunity on the court. I think she's going to have a lot more this season. Her and Carly out there, really leading the guards. And, I think she's just going to hoop out as well. I really think these 3 are going to dominate on the court. And then you got, Matilda Eck there for your long range shots. I think it's going to be a good group overall. You also add Lonnie White, a guard from Utah, as your portal addition. Lonnie White, another great player. And then you got the freshmen. There's 4 of them on this team of just 11 players. Layla Wells, a guard from Chelsea. Maya Hazelton, forward from Sparrows Point. Ramia White, a center from Butler Traditional High School. And then Cale Peterson, a guard/forward from Waupun. So 4 freshmen, 4 true freshmen. You got a redshirt freshman, Mackenzie Nelson, sophomore, Samaya Suffren, sophomore, Karis Baker, redshirt sophomore, Carly Wenzel. I mean, you got a lot of youth on this team, which is really interesting. And only 11 on the team as well. So I think the depth could be a little bit tough this season. I know that you don't play 11 regularly, but it could make it difficult if you're trying to get a red shirt and save a year of eligibility on someone on this very young team. Because with just 11, if you get 1, 2 injuries and someone can't play, all of a sudden you're down to 9 or 10. And probably everyone's going to be in the game. You're probably going to be playing 8, 9 on a regular night. But if anyone in that usual rotation gets hurt, you're going to those last, 2, 3 people. So you don't really have a lot of buffer room with any injuries. So it may be tough to work out a red shirt with this team. I don't think the depth is bad enough to where it's going to hurt them dramatically. But if you do get any injuries, it could be tough with just 11 on the team. Similar to the men's team, this group is so new though, with so many changes, it's really hard to predict how they're going to perform. I mean, you got 4 freshmen, you got a bunch of other young players, a brand new head coach. I still think there's potential for a March Madness berth though. I'm really high on Megan Duffy with this team. I think she brought in a great class in the late spring and the summer and has really recruited shockingly well. Well, I don't want to say shockingly, but really well, impressively well for, just being here at the school for a couple of months. She's brought in a a lot of players and some really highly rated players as well. So, losing those key figures, all Americans like Liz Kitley, Georgia Amore, and some really solid players on the team as well, like Kayla King and Clara Strack. The development is very important this season. They're so young. 4 freshmen, a redshirt freshman, 2 sophomores, a redshirt sophomore, and then just 1 junior and 2 seniors. Compared to last season, they had 1 junior, 1 senior, and 2 grad students just in the starting lineup. And then, they mixed in Rose Mishaw or one of the freshmen a lot. That was like a shifting spot, but a junior, a senior, and 2 grad students in the starting lineup for most of the year. So they had a very experienced team last season. This season, a lot younger team. It's going to take a lot of building. I think there's going to be a good amount of, just young player mistakes, the silly things that you work out as you get more experience. But I have a lot of faith in Coach Duffy. I think she's going to get this group up to speed pretty quick. They're young, but they're very talented with such a good class, with, some key portal additions and retaining a couple of key players from last season. I think they're going to have a good year. I think they're going to start off on the right foot with a win on Monday night. And honestly, I just can't wait to see what these two teams put out on the court. I can't wait to see how they both play because I'm so intrigued. You have no idea what's going to happen. And, there's a lot of fun in that.